Yeah, I would definitely say Evalu-8 has completely transformed how I am able to deliver the HR function in Dundee Science Centre. My name is Laura Denchfield. I am the HR manager at Dundee Science Centre. We are a visitor attraction and an educational resource. So part of our business is to welcome families and the wider community in for a leisure visit, and another part is to work with schools and other education institutions to enhance the provision that they provide for students. Okay, so before we had Evalu-8, I used to have a system called Cascade, which was more of a sort of a data storage facility I used. In addition to that, we would use Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, sort of have folders on our server. A lot of stuff was emailed out to employees or given paper copies that they would have to sign and return. Quite time consuming, laborious, a lot of duplication. And because it's really just myself that deals with HR, a lot of stuff would get missed if I was obviously off or on holiday. And the bigger the company grew, the more difficult it got to manage. So that's kind of what we did before we had Evalu-8. Right, so we basically chose Evalu-8 due to its functionality. So after we met with Robbie online, we felt that he really grasped what it was that we wanted to have in a system. Talking about things like hours that our employees were accruing and using them at a later date. So of all the people that we spoke to, we got a sense that he really understood from an HR perspective and not just from a systems perspective. One of the companies that we'd used kind of to a certain degree previously, he was very much systems based, and trying to get the concept of what we wanted across was proven quite difficult. Whereas with Robbie, it was amazing some of the stuff he was talking about, and we were like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what we want. And yeah, so it was more a case of the understanding from Evalu-8, the functionality definitely aligned with what we wanted at DSC, and also the fact being a charity as well. You just basically pay as you go. So if more people join the organisation, obviously the cost goes up, and then the opposite as well. When we have people leave, it's reflected in the cost of the system as well. So that was a factor too. We also like the fact that you were able to bring back ex-employees. So we have a lot of students that come for seasonal work, and then they would leave, and then often they would come back the following summer, and then you'd have to start up again and do new profiles. Whereas with this, you could just click a button and you bring them back. So that was a big plus as well. I mean, everything about it is fab, like the reports, the app. Love the new things that are coming on as well, like all the new features that you guys are working on, and it just seems to be always growing and improving. So yeah, that's kind of why we chose Evalu-8. We had a training session with, I can't remember the man's name, it's terrible, but we had a training session with all our staff, and then we had another one on rotas, because that was something we really wanted to digitalise, really. And yeah, all your team are really accommodating, really patient, fab at answering all my questions. I mean, I think John's the guy that I spoke to the most. He must be demented with all my queries, but always very, very accommodating. Get back to you within a day, which is amazing. And all the other kind of videos and YouTube things that you can look at are just really, really helpful. So that kind of made the transition from what I was doing to Evalu-8 really painless and very smooth, I would say. I would 100% say that life is much more organised now I have Evalu-8. Having access to an employee's information basically at the click of a button is what it is. So what Robbie sold to us when we kind of had that meeting with him a year ago, I think it is now, is definitely what we got in comparison to other things that we've done previously. It hasn't always come to fruition, whereas Evalu-8, I would say, is definitely what it was sold to us. All employee information is centralised and really easy to access. I'm now able to delegate to my line managers and other members of the team, if I need to, information about different employees, just again at a click of a button. People are like using Evalu-8 now to conduct return to works or performance reviews and other things that I've put into the evaluation part of the system. So it kind of reduces the amount of paper that we're using. It removes duplication because, again, it's just done once and it's saved into the person's file. There's no photocopying or sending it in an email. It's such an easy platform. I think the layout, I love the layout of it. I think it's really simple. I think it's really easy to understand. The font is really, again, accessible for everybody. I'm not the most clued up when it comes to systems, and the fact that I can use it as a user, but then also as an administrator and tweak things, really appeals to me too. So yeah, I would definitely say Evalu-8 has completely transformed how I am able to deliver the HR function in Dundee Science Centre. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that was to ask about a system, and I don't really have anything negative to say about Evalu-8 at the moment, because every time I've got a query or question, you guys come up with a solution. So yeah, amazing is basically what I would say about Evalu-8.